everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Live Well podcast. Today, we have a very exciting topic to talk about, and to do this, I have two special guests. Today with me, I have Reverand. He's one of my colleagues, and I also have with us a certified fitness trainer, Mr. Kerrie Kim Kirton. Do you prefer I call you Kerrie Kim or Kerrie?
Kerrie is fine.
Kerrie is fine. Okay, everyone. So let's welcome Sean and Kerrie. Today, what will we be talking about?
Well, I guess we'll be talking about movement and the importance of that and making it part of your life and making it part of your schedule.
I think that's very important. You know, even personally, sometimes I struggle with movement and trying to be consistent with it. So I think it's a very important topic for us to discuss. But I'm jumping the gun. Before we get there, Sean, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. So my name is Reverand, as was mentioned. I have been with Nestle for over 23 years and recently turned 60.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. So for me, it's about understanding or learning about how to remain mobile, how to remain active, exercise routines for people in their 60s and hopefully 70s.
Yes, definitely. And Kerrie, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. So as mentioned, my name is Kerrie. I have a company, All In Fitness. That's my fitness company. I'm really an entrepreneur, but today we'll be dealing with the fitness aspect of it. So I do personal training, group fitness classes, as well as fitness events.
Okay, lovely. So let's get right into it. So fitness, movement. I think we all have busy schedules, right? And as Sean mentioned, as we get older, you know, we want to make sure that we're very mobile, that we can still do things. And one thing I think is very important too, as we get older, you know, we lose a lot of muscle mass. Sean, how have you been dealing with that over the past few years?
So I have been, I wouldn't say an avid gym goer, but I go to the gym, as I had explained earlier. I will go to the gym for months on end, sometimes up to 2 years without missing, but then I would always fall off. I would find several months go by, then I start back, and I start back going to the gym, and I continue, and it's like that. It's like a cycle that I do. Currently, I am actually working out from home. I have some fitness bands and some weights and things.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's very important. And I also think that we do that. I think the average person do that a lot, right, Kerrie?
Yeah.
I'm sure you hear that a lot in your practice.
We have that kind of cycle. A lot of the time, it kind of revolves around carnival for us here in Trinidad, where start exercising just for carnival and then fall off afterwards. I'm not sure if that's the role that Sean is on, but it doesn't sound like it's just for carnival, so that's good. But that's something that we really need to try to avoid, you know, like starting the process, even if it's for something like carnival is really good, but it's really important to keep the process going and be consistent with the exercise.
No, I think it's very easy to say that. You know, be consistent, you have to exercise, the reasons for exercising. I think we all know movement is important, right? But realistically, I think everyone faces their own personal barriers that kind of prevents them from being as consistent as they want to. So, Sean, have you experienced like barriers over the years?
Yes, especially working at Nestle, there will be times, many times I've fallen out of the cycle. I can relate it to additional stress at work because of projects, working longer hours on a project, and I would say, okay, I'll make up for it tomorrow, and then tomorrow I don't do it, and then 2 weeks pass, a month pass, and, you know, I'm not doing it, and it's harder to start back than to continue. So yeah, that's been my personal experience a lot of the time.
You mentioned also that you do this cycle of starting and stopping. Is it that you experience burnout in between those?
Yes, for me personally, I have something I call exercise creep. So I start with 3 days a week, and then I start to see progress in these 3 days. So I say, 4 days a week, 5, and then I'm up to 6 days a week. And you know, it starts at 1 hour, and then it might be 2 hours, and it's a cycle that I can't keep up for long periods of time.
I think we do that a lot.
Yeah.
Very how? Because personally, I've done that as well. When I now started like my running journey, I got so obsessed with it. I saw a TikTok video. I'm sorry. I saw a TikTok video, and this girl was doing like a challenge where she ran for every day, and she was like on 400 and something days already, and I'm like, I should try this. And I probably did it for like 2 months, and then I experienced really bad burnout. Like I could not do anything for at least a month after. So how do we like sort of limit getting burnt out?
Well, the most important thing is that you need to understand yourself, right? So you saw a TikTok video, you watching somebody else, right? Sean, he goes through, sometimes at work things change and stuff, but we need to understand ourselves and what capabilities we have and how, our daily life is going to affect what it is we want to do. I spoke about it before. We really want to make exercise be part of your schedule rather than going to exercise just when you have time. And doing that, you get to a point where no matter really what happens in the day, you know that X time is your time for exercise, right? And we want to get to a point where people often go looking for motivation. So that's good. Motivation is really good to start. So that TikTok video maybe have a good way that you started on your running journey.
Yes.
But what we really want to get to a place of discipline where you're going to do it regardless of, rain falling, sunshine and snow falling. When you're disciplined, you will still go and exercise rather than looking for motivation, because motivation can run out. But discipline, discipline is what's going to keep you going.
So you're saying to identify at least specific days during the week, times, everything, and try to stick with it.
So when you're back to the discipline thing, when you know that, okay, so maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever times is your time to go. But, missing one day is not the end of the world, because you can make up for it the next day or you can make up for it the following day or whatever. But the discipline is going to keep you going in terms of making sure that even if I miss one day, I'm not going to miss 2 days. Right. Or even if I miss 2 days, I will get back on, because starting back is a lot harder than starting.
I like that you said even if you miss one day, you can make it back, because I think sometimes when we start doing things, we can be really hard on ourselves. Like if you miss a day, you can beat yourself up about that. And I think it's important that we realize that you have to be kind to yourself. Life happens. Not every week you're going to make that Wednesday, but it's important to sort of try to reschedule it. Sean, in that regard, have you experienced that in terms of, do you think you are motivated to exercise at this moment, or is it that you're disciplined completely, or a combination of both?
I would say it's kind of a combination of both. For me, the urge always starts with motivation. I have a goal, let's say, right? So for my goal, like I said, I recently turned 60, and my goal was, I was having a party to celebrate my 60th birthday, and I wanted to look good for my 60th, I needed to lose some weight. So about 4 months prior to my birthday, I went on this diet that I had been researching, and to try and lose this weight. So that was the initial thing. But of course, with diet, for me especially, diet always must accompany exercise if my diet is to be successful.
Right.
I have discovered over the years, dieting alone doesn't work for me. I need to diet and I need to exercise with it. So that was the initial motivation. I'll say now I've achieved the goal of losing the weight, and my birthday is in the past. But now is the discipline part of just staying on it to maintain, and like I said, but also some motivation in that. I look at people in their 70s and 80s, and some people even in their 60s, and their mobility, some people have to walk with a cane or a walker. And I'm saying to myself, okay, that can't be me. I don't want that. I want to be fully active when I am 70, 80, 90, God willing. And so I need to do something about it.
Okay, that's good. I like how you mentioned, you want to be mobile, and you see other persons in that age group that are able to do all these things, and you want to also be in that same category. But that brings me to another point. Sometimes we compare ourselves to other people. And nothing is wrong with looking at someone and, wanting to achieve something similar. But I think sometimes, especially in today's society and with social media especially, we become obsessed and we want to look a specific way, and we, as we mentioned earlier, we bullying ourselves out trying to get that specific physical appearance. What advice do you have for that, Kerrie, in terms of like not comparing ourselves?
So I mean, looking at somebody on social media to start your journey is really good, but the thing with that is you only put certain things out on social media. You don't know what is going on in the rest of that person's life, because you could be working a very strict desk job, and that person is just home. They're gonna film that video in 1 hour, and you think that's their entire day. And that's the thing about social media. They're trying to make it look like the best version of what may not necessarily be the truth. So you have to, as I said before, you have to know yourself. If you are a student, if you're a parent, you may have kids, so you may also need to include your kids into the exercise regime that you are doing. Mm-hmm. So I mean, looking at this person on social media and they ran for 400 days a year. That might be the only thing they did for those 400 days, right? They don't have to go and deal with children, deal with bosses and that kind of stuff. So yes, it's really good to start, but again, we have to get back to the discipline part of it, and you have to understand that your position and your journey is not going to be the exact same thing as what they are going through.
I like that. Your journey is different.
Also, I'd like to add there, like I look at these social medias and you see, well, especially bodybuilders, I tend to look at a lot of bodybuilding thing, and see these guys at I don't know, 4%, 5% body fat, so you're seeing all their ribs, it's like full six pack and thing, but that, for the average person, that's not realistic. It's not realistic to keep yourself at, whatever that body fat percentage is, so, and it could also be harmful. So, we need to be aware that these guys, like Kerrie said, you don't know what they're doing to achieve that.
So Sean, I know you mentioned that you wanted to lose weight for your birthday and you did a lot of exercising and whatnot. Did you do anything else, or was it strictly movement?
Yes, so, and just before I speak about it, let me say I am not a doctor, I am not a nutritionist, right? And I did a lot of research before I actually started, but to lose the weight, I decided to try a diet that I've been seeing a lot on social media, which is called the carnivore diet. So basically it means that you only eat meat and you only drink water. Okay. Full stop. Nothing else. No carbs, no veggies, no fruit, nothing like that. Right? So I decided that I would do it for 3 months, which would just fall in time for my birthday at the end of the 3 months. So during that journey, and here, anything I speak about now, I'm just speaking about my personal experience. And let me say that for everybody, because we are all different, the results could be different and the effects could be different.
Correct.
So as an example, when I was doing my research, everybody said, you're going to get keto flu in the first 2 weeks of the diet, right? Mm-hmm. As your body tries to adapt to no longer using carbs for your source of energy, and you use fat for your source of energy.
Right.
I did not experience that keto flu at all. So for everybody, it can be different. But during that journey, I did lose 25 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah. And now, it's not I knew from the beginning it was never going to be permanent.
Right.
But I am going to have some variation of it, which I hope I can maintain over a long period of time.
Okay, so I'd just like to say, Sean, I respect and I appreciate you saying that to us. That goes against everything I thought, to be quite honest. But that goes to show how, and I appreciate you for telling that real story, because the average person do research. They look at a lot of content, they do searches on the web, and they try to do different diets as well. And I like that you mentioned that it's not permanent. Is it that you acknowledge or recognize that it's not something sustainable in the long term?
Yeah, at least for me, because there are people out there that have been doing it for many years, but for me, I knew from the very beginning that it would never be sustainable. I like roti. I like different types of food, I want to eat those things, but okay, I've recognized, maybe I need to have, my base will be more carnivore, more meat-based than anything else, But I will have cheat days. I will have
Right.
maybe on a weekend, if I feel for roti, I have a roti. Fruit, love chows, you know. So no way I could not have those things permanently.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever do that. I need my fruit and I need the roti and everything as well. But thank you for sharing that with us. I know sharing controversial things can be difficult, especially to a wide audience. Just want to say, don't come at us in the comments, okay, everyone? This is his view, and everyone is entitled to their own view and to try new things. And lots of people try different things over the years. People tend to yo-yo diet as well. It's not something I recommend, but each person, as Kerrie mentioned, your journey is different. Whether that's your fitness journey or your nutrition journey as well, right? Now, we spoke about burnout. We spoke about looking at using motivation as like a beginning factor. But sometimes people experience other barriers as well. Lack of social support, time. So how do we try to navigate through all these different barriers at once? Because it's not at one time you will experience only time, or at another time it's only the lack of support. Sometimes everything hits you at once. It's like a truck hitting you during the week. So how do we still navigate through that?
Well, as I said, the important thing is really the discipline factor. You have to understand what your barriers are, because, you know, I don't have any kids. You know, there are going to be people out there who have kids, so they have to take into context that, you know, they may have to go pick up the kids, or if they're exercising at home, the kids have to be part of what it is you're doing. So, you know, my barriers are going to be different from your barriers, right. And it's really important to just accept them, and because you could always make it part of what you're doing. So the kids part, a lot of people, you know, they have to stop training because, you know, the kids XYZ. No, well, bring the kids, you know, make the kids part of it. Or if the kids are doing some kind of sport, you know, by whatever park or whatever, you could run around the park while they're doing it. You know, everybody's going to have their barriers. You know, you have a job where you're in front of the desk a lot of time for the day. You could take a break every hour, up and down the stairs. Just make, you know, barriers are there to be overcome. If it is you really want to achieve something, it's not going to be a easy road. So we all going to face different types of barriers, but a barrier is just there to, you know, it's not going to stop you, jump over it. That's why you have to overcome a barrier.
I think in addition to what Kerrie just said there, I think you have to have a flexible mental attitude. I, as a kind of a creature of habit, so I say, okay, I'm going to exercise at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And if something happens at 6 o'clock and I can't exercise, yeah, it can throw me off. Yeah. Whereas I'm not going to exercise for the rest of the day. Right. But you have to be able to say, okay, I can't exercise at 6, but I'm coming home at 8. Correct. I can exercise at 8.
Exactly.
You know? So it's important to be flexible.
Flexibility is really important.
That's actually a really good point, Sean. I am guilty as charged for that. I would say I'm exercising like at 7, and if I do something else at 7 p.m, I'm like, okay, you know what? That's gonna have to be another day. So what I find works for me personally is during the week is so hectic. I mean, if you're commuting a lot, sometimes you spend 2 hours in traffic just to get to work.
Yeah.
In the evening, it's just the same, 2 hours again to go back. Some days it's not practical for me to work out, or not 5 days a week I can exercise. So I would say 2 days for the week. In the afternoon when I reach home, as soon as you reach home, change your clothes, go and start to do a little bit of something. It doesn't have to be a super intense exercise, and it doesn't have to be long duration. And then on the weekend, that's where I sort of do my long duration and high intensity workout. So for me, that works.
Yeah, so I mean, it's the same thing. That's just you overcoming your barriers, right? You know, the long commute, that's very real for a lot of people. So what you may have to do is take the time during the office day to try to get it in. I mean, some people have the opportunity, their job may have a gym on site, so take advantage of that. Or based on, you know, whatever the job is, you could find somewhere to walk, take a walk from downtown to uptown to downtown, you know, and use the elevator less, so that you're moving, you're active, you understand? So it's about making the time within the space that you have.
Correct. I like that. Find what works for you, basically.
Yeah.
Sean, what works for you? Because I mean, it really can't be easy.
So for me, well, I have a large family as well as I have children. I have to pick up, I have to drop for school, different things, for work. So for me, this is why I'm working out at home now. So I was actually working out in our gym here previously, but with just had a son start UE, so I have to pick him up on an afternoon, some afternoons. So I decided, okay, that's not gonna work anymore. So now I work out from home. So once I reach home and after I drop and pick up some other children, that's my workout time. So and being home makes it easier to do.
Do you get the whole family involved, like on a weekend or?
No, they're not involved really. So some of my children, some of my elder children, they work out, they go to the gym, or one of them works out at home, but we work out during different time. He works out in the morning, I work out in the afternoon kind of thing, you know. Yeah.
So it what works.
That works for Sean,
But Kerrie, for like persons with like younger children, for example, how do you what advice would you give them to get like the whole family involved in movement?
Yeah, so that's something, you know, younger children is pretty easy. Put them in a stroller and start pushing up and down the street or wherever, you know, whatever park or whatever you may want to go to. Is you can make anything stop you from exercising. I've gotten the world of excuses why people can't make it to training today. But you know, that same thing could happen to somebody else and they make it work. You understand? So if you really want to get it done, you kind of will get it done. I understand that, you know, it's really hard and there's a lot of stress but you know, exercise actually helps you feel really good once you're done. You don't really ever regret a workout. So getting it done is better than not getting it done.
True. And just to circle back to what we spoke about earlier, Sean, you mentioned mobility, and that is so important as we get older. I don't think a lot of people recognize that as we get older, muscle mass depletes rapidly. So, Kerrie, what advice would you give someone, like, you know, just to keep their muscle mass? Like, what can we do? I mean, I personally don't like to lift weights. I know I have to. So what are like some easy, quick ways we could, you know, get that workout in?
So again, another excuse people have is, you know, they don't like the gym or it's too expensive or anything like that. But strength training is not just in the gym. You don't have to be lifting heavy weights to be doing strength training. You could be doing your push-ups or your squats or your sit-ups at home. And that is...
Sorry to bother you, but what if, you know, some of us can't do push-ups?
Everybody can do a push-up. You go on the internet and you'll find a tutorial. Or I can teach you, you know. If we don't have enough space here, but I would have taught you how to do it.
Can you do push-ups?
Yes, so that is part of my routine is push-ups. But yes, like Kerrie was saying, there are body weight exercises you can do, and YouTube is a good place to, you can find all different body weight exercises for any muscle group that you want. So yes, all different body weight exercises can be, you can do a body weight exercise for any body part, and YouTube is very good for showing you different ways that you can use, different body weight exercises that you can use to train any muscle.
Agreed. Just because I know personally cardio is my baby and I struggle a little bit with strength training, I tend to go on like TikTok and YouTube and find trainers or find persons that I can kind of mimic their workouts and save them, and I will try, as you said, the body weight exercises and whatnot. It might not be the push-ups, but you know, things like planking and those, I start small so I can do those things. So that's what I do and I like that. But Kerrie, how do we kind of, you know, there's a lot of misinformation out there and everyone is a nutritionist and everyone is a trainer now. How do we recognize, you know, who is basically legitimate, and you know, you don't want to hurt yourself, so how do we sort of navigate through that?
I know that it's a very difficult and slippery slope, you know, looking for information on social media, because there are good people and there are bad people on social media. There's good information, there's bad information, but it's only bad information based on your circumstance, right? Because you could go online and find somebody that tells you to only do push-ups for 100 days and that's all you need to lose weight, and then you'll find somebody who says don't ever do push-ups is the worst exercise ever. So it's hard for somebody who really doesn't know what is the right thing to do. But so sometimes there will be a bit of trial and error where you kind of have to just, you pick one and you do that, and then you realize, well, that's not right, that's not working for me. And then you have to do something else. So trial and error is something that you may have to kind of go through. You could call me. I have a lot of very good information.
You hear that? Call Kerrie Kim.
But sometimes there'll be other trainers who will tell you to do the exact opposite of what I do as well, right? So because it may not work for you. It's very much about understanding yourself. Again, as I said, there are things that I have tried as well that I kind of had to go back on. So, it's a learning journey for everybody. But that's all part of it, right? So go through the journey and, hopefully once you stick to it, you'll get the results that you want.
And I would say you can research the person's name, see what their qualifications are, because they have people who tell you exercise like this, but they're not qualified at all, So, I mean, take it as you find it, basically.
And like that, make sure they're qualified before you follow them, because you don't want to injure yourself at all. And I think for a newbie who's now starting off, you want to make sure you don't damage yourself. For example, your wrist or your ankles specifically. Another thing too, I find that you don't want to hate what you're doing. And some people tend to force themselves to do a strict regime and whatnot. So how do we navigate that? So how do we learn to love? Should we love what we're doing, or is it that you have to exercise, make sure and get it done? What should we do?
So yes, you have to exercise, make sure and get it done. But there are many ways that you can go about it. So a lot of people think that the only way to get fit is by going to the gym, right? So going to the gym may not be practical for you. We talked about the commute and stuff, right? So if running is something that's available, that might be something you like. Is a cheap sport, relatively cheap sport to get into. Also, there are people who hate running. They don't want to run at all. That's also fine, right? So understand yourself, understand what your barriers are, what you can and can't do, what you like. The most important thing that will keep you consistent is doing something that you actually like. So it may be going to a certain facility, going to a certain gym. It may be, you have a friend who does it with you, or a co-worker or a partner, that kind of stuff. Doing what you like is really going to be important. But yes, you have to exercise, but it doesn't have to be the gym. It doesn't have to be running. It could be swimming. It could be playing football. All these you have a lot of options when it comes to, being healthy and being fit. People think that, you have to go to the gym and you have to have big muscles to be fit.
Agreed.
But a lot of these big muscular guys, like myself, may have mobility issues. I'm not the most flexible person, right? So somebody else who may be just doing yoga may be a lot more flexible than me, but I'll be stronger than them. But anyway, you want to
I think there will be days, even if you're doing the exercise that you love the most every day, there will be days when you just need to get it done. You just do it to get it done, because not every day is perfect.
Exactly.
You're gonna have days where,
Yes.
you just have to you'll be tough. Let's just do it. Let's just get it done today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I will enjoy it again.
But generally you should.
Generally you should.
Generally it should be something you enjoy.
I just want to say thank you so much. Sean, thank you for sharing your experience with us. I know it might be difficult. It might have been difficult to share, your personal journey with nutrition and exercising. But you're doing great. So keep doing the great job. And Kerrie, thank you so much for your expertise and sharing all your knowledge with us. I think some key takeaways that I would leave with here today would be, do what you love. Find something that works for you, and it's easy to make the excuses, but at some point, you just have to work around them instead and enjoy it. It doesn't have to be very strict. We need to enjoy what we're doing, otherwise we're going to burn out. So thank you very much. Would you like to leave us with anything?
So it's really important that people understand that time should not really be a factor, because 10 minutes of exercise every day for the week is better than, no exercise for the week because I don't have an hour to go and exercise, You can do a little bit every day. Make yourself 1%, you all heard this already from random places, make yourself 1% better every day, right? So it really is, it's cliche, but it actually is true. if you could make 10 minutes a day, don't think that only because I only have 10 minutes it doesn't make sense, you know?
True. Okay, I like that. And Sean, would you like to leave us with anything?
Do your research.
Yes.
Everybody is different, and you have to do what you feel, what is right for you.
I like that.
Yeah.
We're all on our own personal journey. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, and remember, be kind to yourself. Life happens, we all go through a lot, but it's important to remember, your body does a lot for you. So take care of yourself, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.